Sorry, fellas. Everybody, I was a few minutes late here. Had a last minute thing. The electricity went off in the trailer, so I had to go figure out what was going wrong. And it turned out that the inverter, it was the inverter that was messing up. It was messing up because it's connected to an auxiliary controller, and that controller, I don't know if the battery is weak or bad connection or just old or whatever, it wasn't sending a good signal. So the inverter just shut down. That means all the lights go off, everything. So there's no power. Without powers, see what I'm saying? But here I am, and I'm trying to come up with some ideas, some programming ideas. And I need some folks to comment and to subscribe to this channel. There's no reason why I can't get these subscriptions up, way up. It's just a matter of being consistent and having the kind of content that people want to hear. So I believe that I have the capability to provide the content, but I want to get a good, solid and firm insight, because what that means to me when I tell prison stories, or when I give my insight, or when I talk to other people, it probably means something different from my point of view. I want to get other people involved and know who my audience is going to be. So I need you guys to help me out a little bit and give me some comments. Give me some, why do people like to hear about prison stories? Why do people like to hear about crime and punishment, or see crime and punishment so much? All you got to do is review the channels, and you see the categories of interest, let's say. But one of the main categories has always been crime and punishment, or true crime. And there's a lot of variations of that. So my true crime show or analysis, I think it would have to be in the format of a podcast. And that would have to be probably 5 days a week, maybe every day, but no less than 5 days a week, like clockwork. And there'd have to be real production with that. I mean, there'd have to be, you'd have to line up guests, bookings, interviews. You'd have to have, a lot of input in that as to the subject matter and, where that thing's going to go. The other thing is just streaming, like streaming live from the property, or from here, or from wherever. Just streaming live and letting that carry across, like, I don't know, a subscribership or something. And then another model would be just putting together YouTube, Rumble, like that kind of a, just distributions, and you can even distribute on Facebook, I guess, if you wanted to. I guess they have probably some arena for that. But, yeah, it's cool. It's cool. But I need some input. So, Richard Dowling. Man, glad to hear from you, Richard. How have you been, my man? Everything good over there? I think you're way over on the other side. Yeah, I'm just trying to get some insight as to what kind of, I've got a wide array of, hey, Dominic, how are you, my friend? Glad to hear from you. Yeah, I'm just trying to get some input from you guys about, I'm trying to build up to this new series, and I'm trying to figure out what model I want to pursue. So, there's YouTube videos, there's streaming, if I set up cameras on this property we have and just, continuously streamed, that'd be one model. Another model would be just to, maybe configure some type of a reality narrative and, just put together a host and variety of different clips here and there. But really want to know how you guys are doing out there. How everybody's been. It's been a while since we've talked now. But trust me, I've been working. And it's all good, man. It's all good. Yeah. No. Good to see you. Well, no. They came out on our property. The neighbors called the county sheriffs. And they didn't tell the truth. They didn't make any kind of a truthful report. They were thinking that they could just say what they needed to say and that we would be run off of there. They didn't know that we actually had title to the property. They were hoping that we didn't. And then they were hoping behind that if we did, that they could somehow convince us not to put anything there. The lot it's been categorized, just, it hasn't been specifically looked at, but if you have certain size lots in certain areas, they're automatically deemed or classified as unbuildable. But unbuildable doesn't mean that you can't erect anything or use that property for anything. You see what I mean? So the neighbors, they all, 3 of them anyway. Well, let me correct. I suspect 3, but 2 very definite neighbors came in and got the police involved. And once the police came out and said, I'm out in the middle of the woods, man. Jack Powers, out in the middle of the woods. And these people, I didn't know it at the time, but these neighbors had researched and found out, and I don't hide it. I've been in jail, I've been in prison, I've been in federal prison for, over 30 years. I don't hide that. And what we were doing out there, or trying to do, I didn't hide that. They just didn't want anything done there. And so they called the cops and they said, look, this guy, he's an ex-bank robber, he's probably on parole, use caution, whatever they told them, right? But they came rolling up 3 deep. They came rolling up with 3 marked units. It's right there in the video. I think it's unlisted now. Excuse me. I unlisted it because there was just too much. There was a lot of response on it, and I got to get along with my neighbors. whether they like it or not, whether I like it or not, we got to get along. Because, we're out there together and I'll do my part. Always. But, yeah, they made a false report and told the cops that we were camping and trespassing. And once the deputy sheriff said, hey, I got, yeah. No, but it's all good now. No. Philly Straggler. Peace, brother. Yeah, no, good idea. I like 23-1. He's got a really decent personality, and he's done really well with that show, as Chad has done, as a number of people have done, really. But it's all a matter of consistency, right? You've got to keep bringing the content, boom, 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 like clockwork. Then the algorithm will reward you. As long as you're into it and pumping out content, the algorithm will reward you. Yeah, I mean, going back to the land and the neighbors and everything and the cops, yeah, I mean, it's like that, though, Noel. We were just, we had the good fortune to purchase this small piece of land. We didn't purchase it. GPC, our nonprofit organization, purchased it. It's a religious organization in the sense of the law, in the sense of general religious organizations under the First Amendment, and we have several programs that cover all of that space, and we work hard. We work hard. We don't go around. Look, we've asked for zero grant funding, nothing. We've asked for nothing. We're the ones that are going out and putting the work in and doing what we do. And we've got a couple of publications, we've got some film works going on, documentary, possibly a series. This is what I'm investigating now, is what kind of format, what kind of program do people generally want to see? What would they be interested in? Would they be interested in a reality series, some kind of a maybe 10 different lives, 10 different people interacting around different situations? You got homeless, you got ex-felons, you got immigrants maybe that are being chased by ICE. We've got all of these elements that are involved, and we're right here next to Google headquarters. I mean, we're close by, and it's this night and day world. I learned that today. The extent of this night and day kind of social atmosphere, right? Because my old truck, my 1996 Toyota T100, the rear tire blew on it as I'm coming down, and I had to turn to get off the road, and there's Google buildings all around there, so I end up over on the side trying to fix this flat with all of these Teslas just lined up back to back, just going by. I mean, I didn't want any help, but nobody put a window down, nobody even looked, nobody stopped and said, hey, can I call somebody, or can I help in some way? And this one, it took me a while to change the tire. So, yeah, I'm happy that everything has worked out the way it has, though. I mean, we're all here, and I guess we're all doing good. But hey, every day outside of a cage is a good day, and yeah, it's great just to breathe fresh air, just to walk around, do what you want to do, have a little bit of space. We don't live large, but we live. We do what we need to do, and you can call it a mixture of blessings, and hard work. But I would say that it's mostly hard work. You just gotta do what you gotta do, and sometimes, like in my case, time probably isn't on my side. I mean, the things that I would like to do, I'll probably never really be able to complete them all, but I think I can complete at least some of them, or a number of them. Just has to be planned out, and you have to have, of course, the means to do certain things, like if you want to travel, or if you want to go see certain sites or places, you have to be able to do that. We have to be able to do that with 5 little puppies. So, but they're so cool. The puppies, the little dogs, man. Let me tell you, it's my life, man. Yeah, if anybody can help, if anybody can give me some kind of assistance, just some input about why are people so interested? Why are human beings interested in watching crime and punishment? And what kind of stories do they want to hear? Because some of these things that are happening on the outside you can't make it up. This shit's stranger than fiction, man. Thank you, Richard. Appreciate you, man. As I was trying to say to everyone, we want to kind of make a little bit of a retreat, a little bit of a bit of a studio, if you will, and use our land for that purpose. I told the neighbors that we were going to use the land as a church, and I meant that what we want to do is use the land itself as our church, because we believe in nature. We believe that the land and the trees and the sun and the sky and the mountain and the beauty and the silence and the noise, we believe that all of it is part of the church, at least our church. So they misunderstood, and they thought, oh, they're going to build a church there. And he's an ex-con, so he's probably going to start bringing all kinds of ex-cons or something into his church or whatever, and there'll be all kinds of people down here, and we want our privacy. And I was like, no. I told them in no uncertain terms, this is just for Jane and I and the pups, just for us to have a place to use as a studio for our programs. and just to go there and relax and to have our pups in tow. So that's what we're doing. But I think it's all put to rest. I think it's all good now. I think that since we filed our quitclaim deed, everyone should be happy. We weren't required to, the law didn't require it, but we went ahead and did it anyway because, well, I guess that's what you're supposed to do. Or at least it erects more of a legal barrier to frivolous complaints by neighbors or others. So it just made sense. It's good insight, no? Just need a co-host. I think that's right. Just back and forth. Just a back and forth. There's a couple people, though, that, you know, there's my brother and my sister. The way that we interact and talk together, I think, you know, there's a compliment there anyway, or an interesting compliment, let's put it like that. From, you know, three different perspectives, but being all related. But there's obviously other people who know the ins and outs of the criminal justice system. There's a really good, really cool attorney named David Michael in San Francisco who is super knowledgeable and you know, but comes from that different angle, you know, as a top-notch criminal defense lawyer for many years now, decades. I met him way back in the 1990s. So, yeah, they specialize in like the forfeitures and things. My experience, of course, is in and throughout the Federal Bureau of Prisons and elsewhere. You know, the rigors of solitary confinement and, you know, hopefully the purpose or mission of providing hope to others who want to change their lives, who want to get out of that cycle, that trap of always going back to the cage. Got a friend right now. He's about to be released. And he's been in and out for his entire lifespan. And he's scared. He's scared. He's really scared about coming out into society because he doesn't know. He doesn't understand society. But that's not the problem. That's really not the problem, in my view. In my view, the problem is he doesn't understand himself well enough yet. He doesn't know or understand that he can change his thoughts, his feelings, his perceptions, his outlook, his understanding overall. Spirit of New Orleans. Namaste, my friend. Yeah, I take your comments to heart. I mean, yeah. Need to do more lives. And maybe that's what's going to be up, because all I need to do is look it up where it's live streaming, and you know, it's just a matter of being in that area at certain times, and that's something for the property probably that I would do. You know, I could do it here for a certain amount of time. I mean, it's not going to stream live like the Truman Show, but could get some really good content otherwise. But I got to get some good equipment together. I got to get the right stuff and the right people, because there's only so much one person can do. The wall ball legend. Come on, Chad Marks. Come on, you see these guns? Chad Marks. Chad Marks. Chad Marks. I'm calling out Chad Marks. Wall ball legend. Jack Powers. Just kidding. But I might be able to make a short out of that. Wall ball. Yeah, I mean, when you're in prison, though, you're thinking of, you got nothing to do but think of shit, right? So, you're thinking of different stuff that you can do to entertain yourself, to keep busy. And necessity, of course, is the mother of invention, right? So, there you go. There it is. You got it. Necessity, boredom, monotony. You gotta find something to do or you're gonna go fucking mad. So you invent something, you think of something, you create a program, and then what I did was I created programs, and then I would test and try them, and I would go through them and see which ones actually had any kind of a benefit for me. And I began to put little pieces from here and there together and make one main program, which eventually has come to be, the manual program. So that's the centerpiece of what I brought out of my experience in prison. Yeah, I mean, no, I did. It did some hard time, but I don't know if harder than anyone else is accurate. I wouldn't say that. I couldn't say that, because there were men and probably women at different facilities, but there's people that are doing really, really badly in these prison cells, in these cages, in that trap, in that mess. There's quite a few people who, and there's, you get these swimmers, these hopers, these people that, along the way that really believe they can do better. They really believe that they can adjust and reform and transform and remake themselves to become better than they were before, i.e. able to avoid going into a cage. And that doesn't involve, I'm not saying, still do crime, but just be smart. No. It's a matter of personal growth and development, personal transformation. You have to be interested in your own character, in the elements, the skills that you have within your own heart and mind. That's what you really need to be most interested in. The recent pardons that Trump issued, just talking to my sister a few minutes ago about it, and I didn't know. I knew Larry Hoover just by sight, because he was at the ADX while I was there for part of that time. So I knew him by sight, but I didn't know him. I never talked to him. What I think about the recent pardons is I think that the First Step Act, I think the Trump administration needs to follow the First Step Act with the Second Step Act, right? And needs to find out those 80% of prisoners who can and are willing to do something different with their lives. Because listen, a lot of people are in there for offenses that they were non-violent. It didn't draw any blood. It didn't substantially injure anyone physically. And so I think that people who don't respect life, that 20% perhaps that doesn't respect life, that's a different category. So you have to deal with that element a little bit differently, that category. But the 80%, whether they're high, medium, or low security, they should be entitled to some type of reform programming that actually helps them to become better human beings. It would be much less expensive, and it would be so much better for society if the criminal justice system operated on the basis of reform programming for the 80% and containment type programming for the other 20. Because I don't think you should ever deprive a human being of the opportunity for redemption. I don't think that it's even possible to completely cross someone out and say, no, this person is so fucking evil, they could, oh my God, they could never be, under any circumstances, could they ever be redeemed? But I think you could say, realistically, 20%, those who have carried out pretty despicable crimes and just, are kind of twisted up in their mentality, where they're pathological, and you don't really want to release them on society. That's okay, Dominic. You're back on now. Mandatory Kabbalah classes, I'm down with that. I mean, I don't know about mandatory, because I think you use the carrot and stick approach. You say, like the First Step Act has. First Step Act has these credits where if you program according to your program plan, then you get credits. You get release credits, early release credits, where you can go either into home confinement or to a halfway house earlier than you would be able to otherwise. I think that's very legit. And it's also proven itself so far, from what I'm hearing and seeing, statistically there's less people, there's a lower recidivism rate under the first, people released under the First Step Act than any other prior legislative acts. So, yeah, I mean, it should be the Second Step Act. There should be more reform programming. Yeah, I mean, you have to be reasonable in the approach. You just have to be reasonable. Yeah, the pardons just show that there's favoritism. If I don't want to speak on it too much, because a lot of it is just simply obvious, and I'm hoping that, like the Chrisleys being pardoned, I'm really hoping that they will take up a cause of activism on behalf of prisoners, federal and state, wherever, but on behalf of prisoners, because prisons are getting worse and worse and worse, and something does need to be done to kind of, reform, to reformulate, to bring something new and something that works into the equation. I mean, prisons are just horrible places, and they've been that way for a long time. God bless you, James. Leyland, God bless you. Yeah, reformulate to reform. I think that's, I'm just saying this. I'm saying that if people can get beat down to such a low, it's like a battery, right? Like a lithium ion fucking battery. If you discharge that son of a bitch below a certain point, you're not going to get it back up. It ain't going to come back up. So I think when people are from whatever reasons, don't matter, but when they're beaten down or pushed down or pulled down or whatever to a certain place, a certain low, if you will, I think it just becomes exponentially difficult for them to recover from that. A lot of it, I think maybe 95% of it is going to be that individual's choice. And I think it should be that way. I think each individual should have a choice, but I think all of us should know what our choices are. And a lot of us don't know, we don't realize we can become different people. We can change the way we think, the way we feel, and the way we behave, the way we act. We can change all that. We can change our perspective. We can come to know and understand ourselves. We can pursue a path of betterment, of personal growth, where we just engage ourselves in the process of human life, and we know or understand or come to understand how to interpret all of that, how to make it work for us, what it means. Those are all important factors. James Leyland. Good for you, James. Good for you. Yeah, right now would be the time for anyone, really, to try to get a pardon, I guess. Doesn't cost anything to file the application, at least federally, at least not yet. At least not technically. So, yeah, I guess pardons are out there. I wish President Trump had given me clemency or would give me a pardon. Yeah, I don't know. If President Trump just often gave me a pardon, should I accept it? Would I? Would it really change anything? Would it? Let me know what you think. But I am going to jump off of here pretty soon because I've got some other stuff to do that I've got to do before the sun goes down. And I'm going to get back with y'all. We're going to do more lives. I'm going to bring it up to speed. And as soon as I figure out exactly what kind of content And I might try a couple of different things like I did before. But I wish you all the very best. I wish you peace in your hearts and minds. I wish you strength and courage for those events where you must make a stand. Otherwise, choose very carefully and, always try to remain relaxed no matter what. Don't let yourself get all tensed up. Just try to remain relaxed. Get some exercise, eat some good food, get some good drinks in, man. Catch you soon.